All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. It is your boy Ham. It's Friday, October 24th. It's my NBA debut. And no matter how you woke up this morning, you woke up feeling better than Chauncey Billups did. I can promise you that. I'll bring my guy in Rio right away. Rio, how you doing? You went to see a beatdown last night in LA. How was that? And how's everything else going?
Yeah, saw the Vikings get beat down in person. That was a very underwhelming game to go see live. I don't know if we have anybody in LA that watches these shows, but just gotta say, LA fans, Lakers, Dodgers, and Dodgers not so much, but any LA football team fan are just the absolute worst. I've never been to a Phillies game, Philadelphia Eagles game. I would imagine that they're up there with being the worst fan base in the league. I mean, every time I've gone to a LA football game, there's always these guys just trying to fight poor Vikings fans. So that was fun to see, but yeah, never that fun to see these blowouts in person. But this is a basketball show, so I'm ready to talk some hoops with my man. It's been a while since we've been on a show together.
Yeah, it's been. I feel like it's been way too long. Let's say hello to some people in chat. We got my guy Go Collect as always. BG Little Neck, Mr. Showdown himself, Mr. Jersey Mike's Jason Turner. Welcome in, Jason. I am Rice, my guy Jordan Newen. Sorry, Jordan, I don't think we're going to be talking any Giannis today. Justin, Kid Lightning, Parabay, Gangrene, Scooter, Jordo, Lachlan, Michael Peterson. What's going on? Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you are new. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. We got 12 games, 12 NBA games. We got one before the World Series. Those Raptors want to get it out of the way. DraftKings, I like this, Rio. We got the little 7-game stretch on DraftKings. They're going to cut it off at 8:30 Eastern. It's the last time that one starts. And then FanDuel does cover the last 4. But we're going to talk these top 7 games on DraftKings. We got multiple different contests with $100K up top. We're going to break it down game by game. I'm showing the stone, which is over here at ShipItNation.com. We're going to go to the first game. And I saw a lot of chatter. In the chat today about this Hawks Magic game. Rio, you got a 236.5 point total. You got the Hawks that just got beat up, against the Raptors? What was that, Wednesday night? Magic, the new look Magic. Talk to me about this game, Hawks at Orlando.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see a game total this high for really any Magic game, just because they've been a team that loves to slow down the pace, but they played really fast in the opener. I don't know if that was mainly because they had to keep up pace with the Heat, who I think made it a point of emphasis in the offseason to play faster. But Atlanta is for sure going to play fast. We know that they're going to be looking to get out running in transition as long as Trey and Jalen Johnson, those guys are on the court together. So this game does have some shootout potential. And there's definitely some options that I'm interested in, mainly on the Orlando side, but I'll just kind of go through what I'm seeing on Atlanta first. I would say the matchup for Trey, a little bit more difficult with Jalen Suggs on him. The Magic aren't really a team that's going to play a lot of help-off defense, so it's going to lead to a lot of guards over the course of the season having, higher volume shooting nights and some decent stat lines, even with the matchup being tougher. The Magic were one of the worst pick and roll defenses in the league last year. So you could make the case for Trey. I honestly just don't think that he's worthy of being 9.6K. There's going to be times this season where he has some massive games, but there's a lot of downside and a pretty wide range of outcomes for him on a nightly basis. So I probably won't be getting to too much of him as much as I think the matchup is okay. I'm a little bit more inclined to get to Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis. Jalen Johnson, my guy, came back from the injury, had a really solid game in 35 minutes, 22, 7, and 8. Pretty solid role as well, 22% usage, 26.5% assist percentage, and then 15 potential assists. Second on the team in touch time at 4.4 minutes. So really solid role for him right out of the gate. I just think that even with the matchup being tougher and the Magic having really good rim protection and transition defense, that anybody with that type of role in the mid 8Ks is going to always be in play. So I'll keep him in my player pool. Probably not somebody I'm taking a huge stand on, but definitely like him. Just the talent is for sure there. Porzingis, I think, is an interesting option. I'm not sure if the minutes are going to get super crazy for him right out of the gate. Probably, just coming into the season with dealing with the, I guess, whatever Potts disease is, an autoimmune illness. But he's going to be dealing with that. I just like the potential upside for him at 7.2K with how often the Magic are going to be attacking the basket. That could lead to a lot of block opportunities. So very similar matchup to the one that he faced on Wednesday against the Raptors. I think it's a little cheaper this time out, but yeah, it wasn't really scoring a lot around the basket. It was a lot of catch and shoot stuff, which is, I think, fine. If he could put up 6-7 threes and make 4 or 5 of them, whatever, and then add some rebounding and some blocks, he could definitely hit value. So I think that he's probably the second best option. Outside of that, I don't think that there's enough usage and really just fantasy scoring to go around for anybody else outside of those top 3 guys. Really expensive tag for a Kongwu playing backup center minutes. Dyson Daniels at 6.4K, dealing with having to compete for touches with Trey, Jalen Johnson, and Porzingis. I don't really think is going to be too big of an option here. And also, Reese Shea is kind of having an uptick in usage this season, so it's taking away even more from Dyson. It's really just the 3 guys up top, and kind of the same for Orlando. I really like the Orlando side here, mainly Paulo and Franz. These guys were just lights out in the matchup versus the Hawks last season. A little bit different of a matchup, with the addition of Kristaps, Jalen Johnson healthier, and then also adding another guy like Desmond Bane into the mix to take away some usage. But I just think that both these guys are really good. I think one of them is going to put up a tournament viable score. These prices are really good for their talent level. Franz did have the slightly better role in the season opener, had a 24% assist percentage, 3.7 minutes of touch time. Paulo did lead the group in touch time at 4.2 minutes. And I think he had a slightly better usage rate, but yeah, I think one of these guys is in a really good spot here. And I think that we'll get a good score from them. I think you can definitely play them together. I'm not going to make a rule to set them apart from each other. If you just read like what they did last season in 3 games versus the Hawks, Paulo put up 53 DraftKings points per game, 33 points, 8.7 rebounds, 4.3 assists per game. And then Franz had 46.7 DraftKings points, 28 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, and 4.7 assists. So I think that these guys are in a really good spot here. I think Bane is fine. Just prefer Paulo and Franz much, much more. And then if no value opens up, Tyus at 3.5K will be the guy that I'm going to be looking to just with point guard eligibility. He did see a good amount of minutes off the bench with Jalen Suggs returning from his injury, going to be limited early in the season. And he had a pretty solid role. What do you have? Like 4 minutes of touch time, something like that. And then did shoot 0 for 4 from the field, but he'll be guarded by Trae Young in the minutes that he's on the court. So that's going to be a really good matchup for Tyus.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. What's going on, Jake? Nice to see you in here. Yeah, first show of the season. Happy to be here. I have a question for you, Rio. Reese Shea is questionable. I think he might have even left that last game early. If he were to miss, do you have any interest in former Timberwolf great Nickeil Alexander-Walker?
I think you mean former Jazz great Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Yeah, I definitely would. He was really good in
Don't say on Wednesday night because he was 2 of 13.
Well, 2 of 15, but in terms of fantasy scoring, he did
really well there. He did do a good job there.
I mean, that's a lot of shots for somebody, like really anybody in the league, but the 6th man, maybe even 7th man on a team getting 15 shots is really good. So definitely, I think Reese Shea is going to play, though. He did go to the locker room, I believe, for like 5 minutes, but came back to finish the game. So he's probably going to play. I also think that the minutes really got there for NAW because Dyson Daniels was in foul trouble. I just wouldn't really look to be chasing that. But yeah, if Reese Shea does miss, then that would definitely make NAW a pretty solid option here.
Yeah, and maybe some blowout run there, too, from the other night. Might have been some minutes. Yeah, excellent breakdown there. Let's move on to the next game on our list. It is the Cavs. It is the Nets. Still no Darius Garland. I think the other night when I was watching that game, he said his timetable that he was going to return is soon, so he should be back soon, but you're not going to get him tonight. Max Strus is still out tonight. And then on the other side, I don't think it really matters. I said it last year, Rio. I'm not playing any Brooklyn Nets. I'm not doing it again tonight, but maybe you can change my mind. But any love for any of these Cavs, any love for any of these Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, make the Nets side really quick. Just don't play any of these guys. Like, they're running out too many bodies, and I don't think that anybody's going to really be separating in a big way from a minute standpoint. this is also not a great matchup versus Cleveland. I think they're going to get run out of the building at home. So not going to be playing any Nets tonight to make it simple. But the Cleveland side I do have more interest in, especially if DeAndre Hunter were to miss. That would add in somebody to the starting lineup. I don't know who it's going to be. It was Jalen Tyson last game, but those minutes went pretty poorly. So it could be maybe Dean Wade, maybe Lonzo sneaks in there at point guard. I don't really know what they would be doing. But the Nets are going to be a team that we're going to want to attack all season long. This team is just a train wreck defensively. They gave up a ton of points at the basket, which was kind of their strong point last year, but they gave up 26 field goals at the rim last game. So guys that are going to be scoring around the basket, Donovan Mitchell, a drive-heavy guard, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, those guys that are going to be scoring around the basket are in a really good spot here. I like seeing Donovan play 36 minutes in the opener, but he was a little bit underwhelming, 46.5 DK points, didn't really add a lot of peripheral stats. I don't think he's going to be pushed for more than 34 minutes tonight. I would say like 32, if I had to guess, would be where he ends up. Just, when the game gets blown up, in the blowout minutes, he won't be out there. So I think he's going to lose some minutes for sure. He will see an okay defender in Terrence Mann at him. They might throw some double teams, so it could be a better spot for guys like Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. But I would say the one-on-one matchup doesn't really matter too much for Mitchell. He's in a good spot. I love the spot for Evan Mobley, though, 8.4K. All the talk in the offseason was about them wanting to run more offense through him, and that came to fruition. He had a 26% usage rate behind Donovan Mitchell for second on the team in the opener. And if they're going to put Michael Porter Jr. on him, I just don't see how he doesn't put up a massive game. So I think Mobley, an elite option tonight at 8.4K. The Cavs or the Nets could do something weird and put MPJ on Jared Allen. That's the only reason I kind of have some interest in Jared Allen, because I don't really know if they're going to do that. But if they do, then Jared Allen would be a really good option here at 6K. But I do prefer Mobley the most on the Cleveland side. And then we'll have to see like what they do with the rotation. They got a lot of guys projected for minutes. They were kind of throwing out a bunch of different things in the first game to see what sticks. What I do know is that I mentioned this last game. I think Alonzo Ball is very well equipped to run the offense, and he looked really good last game. Didn't shoot the ball well, but every shot that he took was a three-pointer. So if he makes like 3 or 4 of those in any given night, he does have, I don't want to say triple-double upside, but he does enough of the peripheral stats to put up some pretty solid fantasy scores. I think Lonzo is for sure in play as a value option.
Yeah, he wasn't shy the other night, that's for sure. 1 from 7 from the field. But when he first got out there, he looked springy, right? He looked like he had some pep in his step. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Obviously, I guess was a good player back in his heyday. One question I have around Cleveland, and you talked a lot about Mobley, but 8 3-pointers. I know it was just one game. And do you think that's sticky? I mean, is this something, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threes a night for Mobley, or was that just kind of a one-off?
No, I think that's definitely sticky. I think that they're going to want him to improve offensively this season. I think that adding the little bit more volume at the three-point line is for sure a thing. The Knicks defensively do kind of give up a lot of threes. They just kind of focus on clamping down at the basket and then also kind of running off the pick and roll stuff. Under Mike Brown, it's kind of always been their MO. But I do think that is sticky. I think they're going to want Mobley to step up in a big way offensively, especially with Darius Garland out. It's kind of the time to fire up Mobley.
Yeah, the thing with him too, last thing before we move on, is he had 16 points in the first half or something crazy like that, and then kind of fizzled out there at the end because Spida came through in the clutch. My boy Jason Turner likes him some Spida. Still the New Jersey Nets, as my guy Chuck Barkley said the other night on the show, which was pretty funny. Moving on to the next game, we got a rematch. Still no Jason Tatum, so he can't get his revenge yet, but we got the Celtics going into New York to take on the Knicks. Cat is questionable. Josh Hart, who missed the other night, I think is questionable. Anunoby's questionable. Mitch Robb is out. And then sad to report that Luka Garza is out too for the Boston Celtics. I don't think anybody else is out for the Celtics. Obviously, oh, wow, we just got some breaking news. I don't think anybody else is out for the Celtics outside of Tatum. But Kristaps Porzingis is out.
All right, we'll have to circle back there once we get a little bit of an updated projection. But yeah, this game, definitely some big Q tags. I would imagine all those guys that are questionable for the Knicks do play. They are favored by 3.5 points here, so I would imagine that kind of takes into account Cat is probably playing. He was questionable, kind of did the yo-yo last game with the doubtful tag and then the questionable tag, and he ended up playing his normal allotment of minutes. Yeah, I think this is actually a decent spot for Boston. I mentioned how the Knicks play defense. Mike Brown was the former coach of the Kings. They were always a team that gave up a ton of volume at the three-point line. They kind of run guys off of the pick and roll stuff, so it could lead to pretty solid volume for three-point shooters. And the Boston Celtics, always going to be a team that just launches threes. So I think that the trio, if you want to add in Anthony Simons, of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Simons, are all in a pretty good spot here. Jaylen Brown wasn't too aggressive in the last game, just had a 26% usage rate, but did have 15 potential assists. He's going to be guarded by OG Anunoby, who is probably one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best, especially against wings. So this could be a really tough spot for Jaylen Brown, but just with kind of relying on the peripheral stats, he could have some pretty solid stat lines if he, follows into like 8 to 10 rebounds, like 6-7 assists. He's going to have plenty of opportunities to get some 3-pointers off. So I think that he's okay. Pretty high upside option, 8.6K, not looking at too much ownership. Derek White, 7.9K, I think is pretty good here. He did lead the team in usage at 27%, touch time at 5.6%. I think it'll be Bridges on him. Bridges is not the same defender as he was when he was in Phoenix, so I think that White is in a pretty solid spot here. But I kind of like Peyton Pritchard the most at 6.6K. He played 37 minutes in the opener, which is great to see, because I think they're going to really lean on him for some secondary offense when Jaylen Brown and Derek White are off the court. Shot the ball poorly, 1 for 7 from beyond the arc, but he'll probably be guarded by Jalen Brunson here, which is a spot I'm definitely looking to attack. He averaged 1.17 fantasy points per minute with Tatum and all those other guys like Horford and Porzingis off the court last season in a pretty solid, I think it was like 400 plus minutes, something like that. So we have a lot of, like, a big sample size. I think that this is a blow up spot for Peyton Pritchard. So he's one of the guys I'm looking to in tournaments. On the Knicks, we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I think that all these guys play tonight, all the questionable tags. OG's probable, so he's for sure going to be playing. I think that OG is probably the guy I like the most. Not that it's too expensive for Cat and Brunson, but the role for Brunson is going to be a little bit different this year than it was last year. They're not going to be super reliant on him from like a usage standpoint. Mikal Bridges surprisingly led the team in a potential assist last game. I think he had like 16, not something I think is going to continue moving forward. But the thing that I do like about this matchup for Brunson, we just saw Tyrese Maxey go for 40 against them. He made 7 3-pointers in that game because the Celtics do play a lot of drop coverage on pick and roll. Jalen Brunson has been a guy that kills drop coverage, pick and roll stuff. So I think that the matchup for him is really good. Maybe something to look at for his overs in the prop market instead of DFS, just because I don't know if there's enough upside right now just with the decreased roll. So yeah, I don't think that I'm going out of my way to play either Cat or Brunson here in this matchup, but I do like OG. I think that he's going to be a pretty undervalued DFS option if he continues his role. He was second on the team in usage at 25%, had 14 rebounds, 24 points, so got the double-double bonus. But yeah, if he keeps that role, and if Josh Hart were to miss, I think OG is pretty good in pretty much any matchup.
With Josh Hart though, or you still like OG a bunch?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think that it's going to have too much of an impact on him.
Yeah, he played 37 minutes the other night as well. And Jimmy, hey man, where were you, Jimmy? My guy Rio is the biggest Jazz fan of them all. He had it. What I see, the Flower 5 starting the other night for the Jazz. You got to love that. They were just, you look up at that score and it was going crazy. I'm looking to see if there's anything in the chat. Derek White, didn't really mention him, but we've got some Derek White love in the chat. Yeah, should be a good game. Looking forward to that. I'd imagine it's going to be on TV somewhere. I might have just said this, but OG did play 37 minutes the other night. That was encouraging. I think he played more than anybody on the team. So yeah, I like that call there. Like Peyton Pritchard as well. Great call out there. Anything else you want to add? Do you want to go back to the Hawks or you want to wait a minute?
No, we'll wait. We'll go to it at the end.
Yeah, going to the next game. This is probably going to be an exciting real-life game. We got the Pistons headed into the Rockets to take on that Rockets team. I watched every second of that Thunder game. And if you like a pair of brothers that are very good at shooting layups, we've got the game for you. We got Thompson. We got Asar Thompson. They couldn't hit a 3 if you gave them 100 chances. I think Amen was 0 for 7 the other day. Goodness gracious alive, Rio. These dudes, they're freaks, but they can't shoot. But talk to me about this game. Pistons at the Rockets.
Yeah, it should be a pretty fun game. Two teams on the rise in their respective divisions. Rockets almost came away with the win. Did call out, I thought that they were undervalued in the betting market. They were +7, I think, +7.5 at some places, and they ended up only losing by 1, but had a couple chances to win the game. The Pistons, they looked pretty bad for most of the game against the Bulls, but did make a little comeback. They really struggled with their shooting, and even adding guys like Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, who is listed questionable as well. So this team could be pretty thin. They ran a really, really tight rotation last game, basically 8-man rotation. Paul Reed snuck in for like 3 minutes, and I think somebody else, I got to look and check, but somebody else got like 6 minutes. So it's going to be really, really tight for them, and especially if Karis LeVert were to miss. I think that this is kind of a spot you kind of want to be ahead of the field, just because if they're going to be playing their guys 36, 38 minutes on a nightly basis, that regardless of the matchup is going to be something you should be interested in. The Houston double big lineup looked really good last game. They had a couple of minutes of overlap with Sengun and Capella and Steven Adams, and Sengun, they both had positive net ratings. The main thing that really hurt them was the turnovers, and that could be an issue pretty much all season long. They don't have a true point guard in their starting unit, and even Reed Shepherd, I don't really think is considered like a true point guard. He's kind of a hybrid guard, combo guard, more focused on scoring. As talented as he is, so they need somebody like Fred VanVleet. So it's going to be a big loss for them. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it this season, but they'll still be competitive just because they have such a talented roster. So Cade goes from one of the best matchups in the league possible for point guards against the Bulls to probably one of the toughest one against Amen Thompson. Amen was able to shut down Shea for most of the game, but did get there, with pretty much an extra quarter to play. But Cade still has one of the most elite roles in the NBA, 37% usage rate, 7 minutes of touch time, 17 potential assists. So kind of he left a lot of fantasy points on the board last game. And while I don't love the matchup for him, all those things are kind of working in his favor. The Rockets don't really send a lot of help defense, so they'll let Amen kind of play defense on an island. And that shows, like last year, they were one of the worst pick and roll defenses in the league. So I think this is a sneaky good spot for Cade to have a bounce back game. He did average 54.2 DraftKings points per game versus Houston last season. So I think that he's a pretty solid low-owned spend-up option tonight. After that, the only person I'm really looking to, unless we get news of a new starting lineup with Ron Holland, or if Karis LeVert were to miss, that would open up some more value. But I do think that Asar is a guy I'm going to continue to play ahead of the field. Really good to see him hit 33 minutes in the opener last game. And his brother is one of the most durable and cardio, just unlimited freaks in the NBA. So if Asar can kind of reach that level where he's playing 36, 37 minutes on a nightly basis, he's going to be in play in every matchup possible. He had a really solid role, had all the secondary ball handling duties with Cade off the court. They staggered some of their minutes. Houston is an okay, not great rim defense, and I think that they could struggle in transition with the double big lineups just being a little bit slower. Asar, obviously a freak athlete, so he could definitely get out and running, and he's always looking to push the pace while he's on the court. He was really close to a massive game. I had a ton of him in DFS, and he was pretty much unowned, but he fell 1 rebound shy of the double-double, would have put him at 40 DraftKings points, and then 3 assists shy of the triple-double bonus. So pretty good role for Asar. I think that he's always going to be in play for me. And then just kind of wait and see what they do with the rest of the lineup. If Ron Holland does get a surprise start over Duncan Robinson, who was terrible last game, I think that he'd be a pretty solid value and should play probably close to 30 minutes. The Houston side, like Sengun again here, he had a really good role last game, 28% usage, 24% assists, 12% rebounding rate. So another guy that has triple-double upside. We did just see Nikola Vucevic go for, I don't know, he had like 50-something DraftKings points against the Detroit last game. And they just kind of struggle against those type of bigs like Sengun, like Vucevic, who are, they can put up some pretty high shot volume from three-point line. I think Sengun made 5 threes in that game against OKC, took 8 of them. They're going to run a lot of their offense through him just as the de facto point guard at times. So I like Sengun here again, and it's nice that they did add power forward eligibility for him. Not super into KD, just don't really think that there's enough upside for him at 9.2K, but I do like Amen Thompson here. Did leave the game early a little bit, was dealing with some cramps, so not like a real injury, just cramping later in the game, playing so many minutes. But he saw 37 regulation minutes and a really, really good role, 8.5 minutes of touch time, which led the team 23% usage, 15% or 15 potential assists. So really, really good role for Amen Thompson. Just, I think, a little bit underpriced for that role. Then Steven Adams at 4.3K, going to be a decent value. Going to need to get there with a ton of rebounds because he just won't take more than 2 to 3 shots in a game. But he did put up 13 boards and played, I believe, 30 regulation minutes before overtime.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. It sounds like you like Asor Thompson over Amen Thompson, and you get a $1,200 discount, correct?
I would say I lean Amen, but I like them not like they're pretty close to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And how bad was Tari Easton the other night? Goodness gracious. That guy was pretty brutal. If Reed Shepard starts, I don't know if Steven Adams is going to start, but if Shepard starts and he played 28 minutes the other night, $4,800. I mean, I know you talked a little bit about him, but what do you think about that play?
He won't start. I don't know why. I don't know why Basketball Monster has him as the starter. They literally gave out their starting lineup last night, and it's already confirmed. So I don't really understand why they have him.
I saw that too. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah. All right, excellent breakdown there. Sangoon was a man among boys the other night. I love Sangoon 90 or Shingun, however you say his name, $9,400. Excellent breakdown there. We got the next game. We got the Heat, who said that you're going to play fast, going in to Memphis. 231.5 point total. Memphis came back and got a dub the other night against the Pelicans. But Davion Mitchell was on fire. Norman Powell on fire in terms of DFS. I think both 40, 45 plus DK points. But any love for this Heat versus Grizzlies game where defense is going to be optional?
Yeah, definitely. I would say one of the bigger Q tags on the entire slate comes from this game with Ja dealing with the ankle injury. He did roll up his ankle later in that game, and it's the same one that he's kind of always had issues with. He had an ankle Q tag coming into the season. So, and they're on a back-to-back. They play tomorrow in Indy, so got to keep an eye on that one because if he does miss, this will be the spot to look to for value. Mainly that would be Jaren Jackson with the increased role, but it would also be Javon Small picking up a lot of minutes at the point guard position, and then probably Cedric Coward as well picking up some ball handling duties. But yeah, like you said, the Heat are going to be a team that looks to play faster, and Memphis is one of the fastest playing teams in the league. So this is a spot that could be the game total is pretty modest. I could see it going over here, just with the way that both these teams play defense. Mention it always with Miami, they play a lot of zone defense that leads to a lot of 3-point volume, and then Memphis has always been a huge 3-point funnel. So if these teams are hitting, like it could be a really high scoring game. I see Bam getting a lot of love in projected ownership. I think that is probably a spot I'm going to be underweight. I don't really love the matchup against Jaren Jackson, one of the better front court defenders in the league. His role wasn't all that great. He lost a lot of touches to Davion and Norm Powell, and will also lose some to Andrew Wiggins at times. And he was kind of bad, just like from an efficiency standpoint, had a 98.7 offensive rating, which was not very good for him. So yeah, I think that Bam, he's okay, pretty good price tag. I probably prefer some of those other guys. Like Mobley, I think is much better. Probably think Jalen Johnson is a little bit better. But I am kind of buying into the new role for Norman Powell. He wasn't, when he was with the Clippers, just an off-ball catch-and-shoot guy, but had a lot more drives and usage in his first game with Miami. I think they're going to lean on him a lot more as long as Tyler Hero is off the court. And a really good schematic matchup against the Grizzlies, who are a huge 3-point funnel. So I'm kind of buying into Norm as a low-owned option at 7.5K. And same thing for Davion. Like, I just think Davion is a pretty talented guard that's kind of been undervalued and kind of buried on the depth chart with, the Kings and those other teams that he played for. But actually, I think that's the only team he's ever played for is the Kings and the Heat. But either way, he led the team in touch time at 5.2 minutes, led the team in assist percentage, and had a 52.5% of the team's assists, which is just a massive number. So I think that he's very undervalued at 6K if that role does persist. And then Wiggins is another guy that I'm just kind of under market. Like, he's going to be one of the highest owned plays on the slate at 5.8K for whatever reason. He's a great cash game play and probably somebody you're starting with in single entries, but I think there's probably ways to get away from him in tournaments, and I'm going to look to do that. But I would say, as it looks right now, I'd probably be underweight on Wiggins and Bam and over on Norm and Davion. And then Jovic, I would guess, is a guy that I would keep in my player pool as well, 4.6K. I only played 23 minutes, but he was a guy that got a lot of buzz in the offseason. So I would keep him in the player pool for sure. And the Memphis side is just, I don't think I'm going to play too much right now, but if Ja does get ruled out, I'll look to Jaren Jackson and I'll look to Javon Small as guys I'm looking to for value.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. And then Warren, Davion play had a cup of coffee in Toronto as well. So yeah, excellent breakdown there. Yeah, I'm buying the Davion, man. He's just such a freak on the defensive end too, rebounds, steals, things like that. He could stay in the game. They'll get up and down for sure. What about we already skipped the game with Jabari Smith? Any love for Jabari? Obviously, I know it's not this game, but we kind of jumped over him.
He's all right. I don't really have a strong take on him. Didn't really think that he played that great in the last game, but I don't know. 15 shots is fine for somebody like him. I just think that you're kind of asking for a little bit too much.
Yeah. We got 2 games left to talk on this slate. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got the Spurs at the Pelicans. Wemby coming off a freaky game the other night. What he put up 40 points, just 70 some odd DraftKings points, I would imagine. Yeah, 70 right on the nose, 70.2. De'Aaron Fox is still out. No other major injuries to speak of that I'm seeing. But talk to me a little bit about this game. Slim Zion, you got any love for Slim Zion? But you got the Spurs at the Pelicans.
Yeah, Pelicans kind of a train wreck defensively, so it's going to be a team that I'm always looking to pick on, and they're probably going to be without their starting center. Missy is questionable, and they just signed DeAndre Jordan off the street to give them some depth, so that's kind of where they're at. But yeah, I mean, the Spurs look like a team that's going to be contending, and they're definitely a team on the rise in the West. I'm very, very bullish on the Spurs this season. You know, adding guys like we're really adding, Harper, I think is great for them, and having De'Aaron Fox getting healthy. He's going to be a guy that they lean on towards end of games. He's one of the most clutch shooters in the league, so I think that they're definitely going to be a team to keep an eye on this season. But yeah, it's a really good spot for the Spurs. Like you said, Wemby just absolutely unreal in his first game back from the blood clots, and his projected ownership is low. I would imagine it comes up just because people probably get a little bit of FOMO after not playing him. I think he was like single digit in the big tournament on Wednesday, and then probably like 12-13% in single entry stuff. But I mean, he's got to be one of the best. If you got a good number on him as the MVP earlier in the offseason, then you're probably feeling pretty good. I mean, if this role persists and he can sustain that same thing, the same production the whole season, he's going to run away with the MVP for sure. But 36% usage rate, 25% rebounding rate, 3.6 minutes of touch time, 65 touches. Yeah, he just does it all. So I think this is just a great spot for him against a team with weak rim defense. Should get plenty of opportunities for blocks with Zion looking to get to the basket as well. I think that he's probably my favorite spend up on the entire slate, especially if he's going to be sub 10% owned. And the guards, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, and Dylan Harper all looked really, really good last game. I like the roles a lot for Castle. He had a team leading 6.2 minutes of touch time, 31% usage rate, and 11 potential assists. Saw an uptick in his drives per game as well in that last game. And the Pelicans have no rim presence, so I think Castle is a very, very good option here. And he did see a price decrease. I was saying I didn't think that he could get there at whatever it was, 7.2K last game, but he kind of proved me wrong. So I think that he's really, really strong here. I like Dylan Harper a little bit more than Vassell, but you could definitely say that Vassell is a solid option. 6.5K is kind of a big price tag for him, but he did take 14 shots and looked pretty good offensively alongside Wemby and Castle. The thing that I like to see about Dylan Harper, everybody knows, if you know basketball, you know that he's one of the better rookies that came out of the draft class, but he had a really, really solid role off the bench, put up a 15-4-2 stat line with a 34% usage rate, 4 minutes of touch time, that's really good for somebody coming off the bench. Extremely talented. I think he's going to have some huge games this season, and I would say that a spot versus a weak defense like the Pelicans would be one I want to attack. So I kind of like the value and upside that he provides at 5.1K. Everything else is just fine. Like Keldon, apparently he looks a little chubby, gained some weight over the offseason, but he played 25 minutes off the bench, sub 5K, pretty good tag. Then Julian Champagny, I don't know. He doesn't do it. He doesn't really do it for me. So I'm fine getting away from him at some ownership. The Pelicans I would say this is going to be a tough spot for them. Just Wemby and the backup centers that they have are going to be doing a really good job protecting the basket, and it's going to make it tough for Zion from a scoring perspective. But I would say the role is as good as it gets for anyone in particular in the league. He had a 33% usage rate, 22% assist percentage, 13.4% rebounding rate, and then 6.6 minutes of touch time. So he's essentially the point guard for this team, which always puts him into play. This game is projected to stay close, so having some correlation with like a Wemby Castle Zion or Wemby Harper Zion is something that I could see working, but I don't really love the matchup in particular for him from a scoring perspective. I think that if somebody not named Zion is doing damage, it's probably one of Jordan Poole or Trey Murphy, just because they're going to need some secondary scoring, and the Spurs could be a team that, with how good the rim defense is, maybe there's some higher shot volume for three-point shooters, so I could see Murphy putting up a pretty solid score here. But 6.7K, I think is a little bit expensive for him for like just the role that he has with a fully healthy team. And then Saddiq Bey, he looked pretty solid. Didn't shoot the ball that well from beyond the arc, just 20% from deep, but did play 30 minutes off the bench. And now with Missy likely to miss and Carlo Mikovic questionable as well, if those guys miss again, I could see him playing 30 minutes again. I think that he'd be probably the second best option for the Pelicans.
Yeah, I think it was no coincidence.
I don't know if you guys could hear that.
The Crow's going ham. The chat, you got the chat in shambles over here with the Crow. Hey, the Crow said the lock Wemby in. Crow's better than Pelicans. My guy Rio just over there going ham on the Crows, the Pelicans and Spurs. We got the Crows, ladies and gentlemen, just going ham over here. You can't beat it. Thank you for tuning in, all 400 of you. We certainly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got Slim. We got the Slim Reaper, the new Slim Reaper, Zion Williamson taking on Wemby. Looking forward to that game. All right, Rio, last one. Take us home. No Crows, please.
I wish that I checked the chat while I was doing it. My bad, everybody. They literally just sit right outside my window sometimes.
Yeah, they were going nuts. It was awesome. The chat was loving it. We got one game left. We got the Wizards, the poor Wizards. Chuck and them the other night they were funny too, talking about what did Middleton, what did CJ McCollum do to get sent out to Washington? But we got Washington taking on Cooper Flagg, Mr. Double-Double himself, Cooper Flagg, 10 points, 10 boards. PJ Washington, sorry people, you're not going to get him at 3K today. He's up to 5,000. Anthony Davis, underwhelmed his first game, but I think we got to have some interest in these Mavs tonight taking on this lowly Wizards team. Talk to me this one. Wizards at the Mavs, 228.5 point total, Rio.
Yeah, there's a couple surprising things that stood out for me from the Wizards game. I was surprised to see them able to come back from they were down by like 25 at some point against the Bucks, but were able to kind of cut it to single digits at one point. So that was interesting because I did say that I think that this team is going to be a little bit more competitive early on while they have CJ and Middleton and everybody's fully healthy, just because it's a better overall roster than what they had last season. But this team is just not very good, and I think that they're going to be pretty bad everywhere defensively. But what was surprising was that Keyshawn George was the guy that actually led the team in touch time, which is – quite random. He's just like a wing, but he had a massive game, 44.75 DraftKings points with 4 assists, 9 rebounds, 21 points in 32 minutes. So, if that role is sticky, then I kind of think that he's okay any given night. I just think it's going to be a little bit too difficult to try to pinpoint who's going to be the people you need in fantasy for Washington, and they're going to be running out so many different bodies. So I'd say I probably don't have much interest in these guys if I was getting pretty deep into this game and I wanted to have some correlation, which you don't need to force in NBA, but I would say that it's probably going to be Middleton and CJ just because we know that they're probably the best options for them. But the Mavericks side definitely looks a little bit better. They just gave up a huge score to a lot of different guys on the Bucks last game. They give up a ton of threes, ton of off-ball stuff, so it's a pretty good spot for those guys. That would be like PJ Washington and Klay Thompson as like the main off-ball scorers, maybe some Najee Marshall as well. But I really liked what I saw from a role perspective for Anthony Davis. He led the team with just 3.8 minutes of touchdown, which is not great, but that's kind of a lot for Anthony Davis, more of like a post-up pick and roll guy. But we did talk about it. They've been kind of comparing him to having Domantas Sabonis type role. And they're another team that doesn't really have like a true point guard on their roster outside of D'Angelo Russell, but he's coming off the bench. Like they list Cooper Flagg as their point guard, but it's kind of a mixed bag of everybody. I don't know if that's going to be something that they have a ton of success with. I just think that you need a true point guard on a roster. But if the role persists, and that's what we're going to be seeing from Anthony Davis moving forward, I think that he's kind of always in play and has some sneaky upside in multi-stats. Like he's definitely one of the better rim protectors, can get steals and blocks. But if he's also adding in a couple of assists as well, then he could be looking pretty good. So I think this is a really good spot for Anthony Davis. For Cooper Flagg, probably just going to be taking a wait-and-see approach for him. I think that it's a little too expensive at 7.1K. I think he should be like probably low 6Ks right now. But you get the inflated price tag with all the hype around him coming into the league. I think he's probably just going to be like a better real-life player than he will be for fantasy. He's definitely going to have some big games, especially when they start to deal with some injuries. I just don't think that I'm going to be doing it. But if there were a time for him to have a breakout game early in his rookie season, it would definitely be here. So he should be in your player pool, but I'm just not crazy about it. I think PJ is probably the second best option at 5K. Just a decent price tag for him as a guy that's going to be taking a ton of shots and will get some weaker matchups. So I think that AD, PJ are probably the two guys I'm looking towards on the Maverick side.
I don't think D'Lo's starting tonight, but maybe down the road, Lachlan, there might be something. AD versus Zion straight up.
I'm going to take Anthony Davis.
All right, let's do another one that's close. AD, well, that's a different position. I was going to say KD.
That's a good one. Sengun or AD?
Yeah, Sengun or AD.
I would still lean AD here.
Oh, wow. So you like AD. All right, that'll do it, folks. That's all 7 games. We appreciate you tuning in. Before we get out of here, Rio, you got to give us the crow play of the day. With the crow, the rooster flies, and the crows crow. Rio play of the day. Give us the guy when the smoke settles and the dust clears and Rio goes to bed at 2 a.m. Central when Ham's been in bed for 4 hours. Who's going to be on the winner tonight?
All right, let me take a look because there were a lot of low on guys that really did stand out to me on this slate. I don't know why, but something's telling me I could see a big game from Dylan Harper. I think this could be the breakout game. I don't know if I want to die on that hill yet, so let me take a look real quick.
Dylan Harper, he's going to die on that hill.
Not dying on that one. I do like him though. I'm be getting a good amount of him tonight in my MME portfolio for sure. Taking too long in this. I'm going to take one of Paulo or Franz. It's kind of a cop-out, but I think one of those guys has a tournament-winning score, potentially even both, especially now with Kristaps out. Like this Atlanta rim defense is going to be very, 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 very bad. So I think that one of Paulo or Franz is going to have a really big game tonight.
All right, well, let me play devil's advocate. With Kristaps out, does that boost like Trey? I know they're different positions, or Jalen, or anybody like that on the Hawks side that you think might get some more touches, more shots, obviously going up without him on the court?
I would say probably Jalen the most, but if anything, it's going to hurt their overall offense. I mean, they brought him in for a reason. He brings something that Okongwu and Capella didn't have last season, when that's like the pick and pop stuff. So I think that just losing him is, if anything, is going to hurt them. I don't really think that it makes Trey much better. I would say maybe Jalen a little bit, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you tuning in. We got you covered all weekend over here at the Nation. We got Showdown baseball tonight. We got NBA basketball tonight. We got obviously college football, pro football, NBA basketball this weekend. My guy Rio will be back on Tuesday for the next NBA show. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Good luck tonight in your contest. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards. Have a good weekend. Let's ship it.